All right, so listen, everyone, we're at the top of the hour. Usually that's my cue when I get the recording's already in progress moniker there. But I want to just extend a really warm welcome to everyone. Again, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Eddie Dunn. I am the interim president for Vets to Industry. So a warm welcome to all of you. How many people are here for the first time? Is anyone here for the first time that's ever been? Desi. Zach, good. That's a lot of pressure. We're gonna have to try to impress you over this. Cynthia, how about yourself? Your first time here? No, you've been here. Okay, so you're a veteran for us, right? So yeah, you've been this. Good,
I've
good,
been to quite a few.
outstanding.
I'm
Thank you.
actually outside in this beautiful day. I probably can't stay the whole time, but it's so
Yeah,
gorgeous here in the mountains. So
nice, nice. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm actually from Northern Virginia, DC area, but I'm in a small town out in the mountains outside of the Springs, Colorado Springs. And
Nice,
it is
nice,
gorgeous. It is about 62 degrees, the breeze, the sun is
nice,
shining. It's absolutely gorgeous.
nice, nice, nice. Well, awesome. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so. Welcome, everyone. Just really, this is our 68th virtual networking event. We're pleased that you can join us. Again, as for those of you who have not met me, I'm the new interim president, Eddie Dunn. I've been in the military transition space for well over 15 years now. I've been a talent management professional for about 25, so that makes me old, right? So, one of those things that I love to tell stories about is that I have seen the sausage making behind the scenes relevant to employment in corporate America. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to veterans in employment, how to get to where you want to go, everything that's going on in the world today relevant to some of the trends that I'm seeing. So I'm not sure if that will come out today. This is all about networking, so more on that to come. But I'm going to be one of your moderators today. Before we get started, actually, Miss Carmen is going to paste in the chat the labels for each of us. If we can identify who you are, you're going to see career seeker. C stands for career seeker. R stands for recruiter. E stands for educator. VB stands for veteran owned business. SB stands for spouse owned business. S is a supporter. VSO is, of course, Veteran Service Organization. If you're V2I, Vets to Industry, you're a volunteer. And M, which I believe is a new one for Post Veterati Mentor. So we want to make sure that we see that accordingly. We dress and we understand who we are according to how we're talking to each other. Okay. Again, impactful event today. We ask that you turn on your cameras if you can. I'd love to see your shining faces all here. And I've already been impressed with Zach and his smile. He shows up with his smile. Good on you, Zach. And we ask that not only you turn on your cameras, but you take pictures in the breakout. So you're capturing social media, all those things right there. Don't be afraid to ask questions. What happens a lot of times on these networking events, especially when you've been desensitized in a Zoom environment in the world, we want you to be very proactive in asking questions, especially as it relates to employment, things that you're seeing in the space. And just because this is a networking event doesn't mean you can't ask the hard questions as well. Before we introduce the keynote, I want to make sure that we share more about Vets to Industry for some of you who've been here for the first time, in case not only it's your first time that you can see value for the reason for spending your time with us on precious time on a Saturday, right? A lot of things that we can be doing. I have work around the house, family obligations, all the thing, but for me, this is an extraordinarily important event for us each and every Saturday we do this. So Vets to Industry was founded to create what we call a centralized site to access all the free resources that are available out there for service members and their families. Vets to Industry was actually built by a core of volunteers that impact the organization to this day. It's one of the things that we're well known for is that we have a lot of volunteers who step up more so than most VSOs out there because of our reputation and what we stand for. Thanks to the generous support of Signal Health Group, which is our core sponsor today, we've experienced we've expanded our service options to continue these monthly networking events, and we're committed to continuing the amazing legacy of Vets to Industry. So here are some ways that we want you that so you are aware how we assist you today. Monthly events like this one to include our networking circuit events, industry specific webinars, right? So in this particular one, we have one on broadband we did recently and another one on shipbuilding, which is something I want you to think about and ask about. In-person resource drives, monthly training webinars, digital engagement platforms with regular gaming streaming sessions for those of you in the gaming area of life, business listing for veterans and military spouses, resume and career search assistance, and our careers team that assists you with all your career search needs. So that's a little bit about us, right? So before we get into the speaker introduction, I'm not going to turn it over to Carmen. I want to make sure that Carmen's recognized here just for a second. And Carmen, if you can speak up for a second. So Carmen White works tirelessly behind the scenes and is our chief operating officer who does all the magnificent work relevant to everything we do in our run of show, getting all the guests, all the actionable things behind the scenes that needs to get done. So Carmen, could you say a very quick hello and say hello real quick?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Eddie.
Awesome, awesome. She is the heartbeat of this organization, and I truly have loved our partnership since we started together. All right, with that said, I'm going to do a quick introduction to our guest speaker today, our keynote speaker, Trevor Green. Trevor is someone I've gotten to know most recently because we share the love of coming out of the 82nd Airborne, but I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But Trevor Greenberg is an accomplished professional with a diverse background spanning project management, military leadership, and consulting. He's a 7-year veteran of the U.S. Army. He served in the famed 82nd Airborne Infantry Division as an infantry soldier, right, before transitioning to a successful career as a project innovator in the private sector. Now, over a decade, Trevor has managed high stakes projects for Fortune 500 companies and government agencies, including Evron, Booz Allen Hamilton, the Department of Veterans Affairs. A highlight of his career was leading the U.S. commercialization of an Israeli made interior drone system. I think that's fascinating for security, a project that resulted in 3 U.S. patents bearing his name as co-inventor. Very impressive, right? Trevor holds an MBA from Auburn University, a BA in economics from San Diego State University, and numerous professional certifications, including his PMP, his PMI ACP, his Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, and the As Is International Certified Protection Professional, what's called CPP. He's also an author on projectmanagement.com, and he's also the creator of a popular PM Monday series on LinkedIn and the host of the Disgruntled PM podcast, which I'm going to be one of the guests coming up fairly soon, where he shares practical strategies from his own experience and that of his expert guests. So with that said, we're gonna actually share some information on Trevor. But Trevor, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Eddie, and thanks for that very generous introduction. I don't know if I can live up to all that. So, can I share my screen here?
I sure to God hope so. There you go.
All right, can everyone see?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So, today's topic is going to be on building relationships, not just networks. Now, who am I? As Eddie said, there we go. As Eddie said, I've spent 7 years in the Army. I've got a lot of letters after my name that don't mean much in the private, that mean a lot, but don't mean a lot. I've spent almost 15 years actually as a project manager, 3 patents, and I'm host of my own podcast. Now, let's talk about some unscheduled pivots in my career, because, it sounds like I'm living the dream with everything on my resume, right? Well, not quite. I spent a lot of this year learning about what happens when things go wrong. I had 2 layoffs in 2024. I'm still unemployed from October of 2024, where I was laid off. And what I learned was in January, I came to a soul crushing realization. And that was I had already tapped all the people that I knew in my network on helping me get my next role, because I got laid off in October. So what do? You call up all your friends and you say, hey, does anyone know anything? So January rolls around and everyone's already heard all my pleas. They're tired of tired of the messages. So now I'm not at 0 in my job search. I'm at a negative number because I don't have anybody I can go to. So this is when I had to learn how to use the veteran network. I got on mentoring calls. I attended workshops. I did a lot of learning on my own of how to do things. And I kind of made my own style and way in what seemed like it would make sense for me. I spent 2025 building a network that is not super impressive in numbers, but on Friday, I just broke 3,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I'm still adjusting my approach as I go. The game changer for me came when I realized the most exclusive networking group in the world is one that I'm a part of, and that's the Military Veteran Network. Because I would estimate the 80-20 rule, and the 80-20 rule of about 80% of those people that are veterans out in the professional world, they want to help. They want to talk to you. They want to see what they can do to help you. There's about 20% that we would just call dirtbags, and that's okay because we don't focus on them. You know, that's just the rule of the 80-20 rule that just goes everywhere. But here's how you focus that energy on, and I'll say exploit that resource, but in a positive way. Because in project management, we have negative risks and positive risks, and you want to exploit the positive risks. So what you're talking about now is, how do you find those people? How do you build those bonds? You find out information about people, and you use what your commonality is. Did you serve in the same branch of service? Did you do the same MOS? Were you in the same unit? These are all ways to build those bonds very quickly, to be able to build friendships, build relationships, and help you get what you need. You know, there's a unique thing about being a veteran. I'll share a couple of personal stories here. I was on a veteran mentoring website. I saw a name that looked familiar. I booked a call with him, and I started off the call with, "Before we say hello, were you a White Falcon from 2004 to 2008 in Scout Platoon?" And he's like, "Yes, yes, I was." And we talked about our days back at Bragg. We talked about deployments and stuff that we were both on. And he mentioned that he worked at Salesforce. And he said, "I'm happy to recommend you for any role you want that you think you're qualified for." And I said, "Don't you want to hear about my background, check my LinkedIn, look at my resume, feel comfortable about recommending me for anything?" He's like, "Nope, we served together. I know who you are. That's good enough for me." You know, another example is, I met Eddie probably about 3 or 4 months ago through a business relationship. And I did some research on Eddie because I want to know who I'm walking into a meeting with. And we spent the first 15 or 20 minutes talking about the 82nd and Jumpmaster School,
Oh,
long before we ever got down to business. But that relationship right there made it a whole lot easier for Eddie and me to get along and to grease the wheels for everything else to come. And one third story that I'll share is, I was working at a healthcare company, and the director of the PMO, I knew he was a retired officer. I knew that he was very proud of his time in 82nd Aviation. And if you know anything about project management, you know that the director of the PMO is somebody that everybody wants to get a hold of. So one day I happened to be walking in my car. I saw him standing there next to me, and we were walking, and I just struck up a conversation with him. And I mentioned, "Hey, I just had my second kid. It's a lot like back at Bragg when you chase your coffee with a monster to start your day." He stops, looks at me. He's like, "You were in the 82nd?" I was like, "Yep, yes, I was." Talk shop about the 82nd, hands me his card and says, "Put some time on my calendar and we'll get lunch." These are the kinds of relationships that we get that nobody else does as veterans. This is how this stuff happens. So how do you get these connections? Oh, sorry, I'm lost here. So how do you use these connections, but you don't abuse them? That's the key. You know, and for spouses, you're in the club too. There's a secondary club for spouses where spouse support groups and spouse supports and spouses, that's a big networking group right there. Use it, but I'm not a spouse, but I would just caution you that there's a difference between being proud of your spouse's service and trading on that service. You know, there's a fine line between that, and that's up to you to figure out how you walk that line. So now let's talk about how do we build these relationships that we're trying to get. So what we want to do is, first of all, use LinkedIn as a research tool. Anybody you want to find, anything you want to do, you can get it through LinkedIn if you know how to search it. Find the people who fit what you're looking for. If you're looking for a role, find the recruiters, find people that work at that organization. If you're looking for something else, you know, if you want to learn about an industry, find people that work in that industry. Find the commonality. Notice if they're active on LinkedIn. Do they post often? If they do, ring that notification bell to follow them so when they post, you can comment on their stuff. Subtly make yourself known, because I can tell you, I respond to every single comment on every one of my posts. And that's common practice for anybody who's active on LinkedIn, is you respond to comments. So if you see the same name over and over, it becomes familiar. Now, this is where you reach out to them and you send the connection request. Now, a lot of times, if they're active, they'll accept it. And now this is where the magic happens. You have to reach out and talk to people. You know, there is no way around this. There's no secret recipe to getting to know people without talking to them. You have to be genuine. You have to ask for stories. You have to build that relationship. If you're looking for if you're just looking to for followers and to grow your network, that's a whole nother strategy, and that's fine. But one of the things that I will say is if you're a professional, you should be spending a minimum of 30 minutes a day throughout the day on LinkedIn to just be looking for people to know and figuring out, how do you grow your network? How do you build outside of what you already know? Because we all need to know new people. You know, if you send your requests, if you're not working, you should be maxing out those connection requests by Wednesday or Thursday every week. You should not have a single connection request left in your queue by the end of the week, because every time you've got that opportunity to connect with someone, you've got somebody new that you can talk to. And you'll get a lot of non-acceptances, and that's fine. The ones who do accept, you reach out to them and you talk to them. People want to help. They generally just don't know how. So now we need to talk about content. Content is your voice and your reputation. This is how you become known, because it's great to be commenting on everybody else's stuff, but people want to know, what do you think? What are you an expert in? How do you see the world? And I will say, AI in content is a hot button topic. Do not just copy and paste content from AI into LinkedIn and call it your own. Don't do it. I actively have at any given time probably 30 conversations on LinkedIn with professional people, and we know who the people are that do that, because, or we suspect who does it, because there's various ways that it shows up. And if you want to do that, that's fine, but that's also how you build your reputation. You know, we talked a lot about in the military, your reputation precedes you on LinkedIn and everywhere else you go as well. So think about what you're doing before you do it, because I'm reminded of a conversation I had with somebody who is on this call right now, who I was telling them, you know, I don't know what to write about. And he said, Trevor, you're an idiot. You've come up with at least 10 great concepts for a post in our 30-minute conversation. And then after I hung up the phone, I made my first post after that. And then now I'm up to, I think it's 6 a week, plus videos, plus promotion for the show. You know, there's a lot of different things that I'm doing to get myself known and build that credibility in my space. But your content doesn't have to be perfect, because think about it this way. When you're first starting with content, odds are no one's going to read it anyways. You're just getting it out there. You're working a muscle. You're learning how to do something. As you do more, you'll figure out what works for you. You know, you'll figure out, how does this work for you? I recently posted about this week, and it's a concept that I've heard a lot of: best versus best known. I want everyone to think of, where is the best cheeseburger in your town? Now, I bet you it's not McDonald's, right? But you know what the most recognizable cheeseburger in the entire world is? McDonald's. So think about that when you're creating your, I hate the word brand, but your persona, because that's how you're building yourself out there. You've got to build your own personal best first, and then if nobody knows you, you don't exist. It really is as simple as that. You've got to figure out, how do you make this make sense for yourself, and then how do you share your knowledge? How do you share your message? And also think about it this way, that there's no shortcut to this. Everybody that has 10,000, 20, 40, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers, they've spent years building that. And if they tell you they got it overnight, they're lying. I've been hard at work for the last probably 5 months getting up to 3,000, getting myself from 2 to 3,000. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, but it's something I need to do to build my podcast and my brand. So think about it this way: when you're posting and when you're building yourself out there, that is how you're presenting yourself. And that's also how you're building yourself. I started my podcast because I was challenged to face a fear by somebody. I keep doing it because to showcase my expertise, and it also builds a platform to not only elevate me, but I bring on guests as well. Some people have heard of, most people have never heard of. But the focus is to present project management in an approachable and entertaining way. I use this platform to help raise others up, as well as raise myself with it. So one of the things that I really want to focus on is, your content is how you present yourself. So when you are presenting yourself, don't just think about what you're putting out there. Put yourself in the seat of whoever you're targeting to read it. If you're looking for a job, think of yourself as a recruiter reading that content and say, does this position me as an expert in this field? Does this position me as somebody that knows what I'm talking about? So when they look at my content, they can say, oh, he can write, or, oh, he can communicate. These are all things to think about as you're building out your content. So to sum up, what have we talked about? Get on LinkedIn, make a target list, interact with that target list content, send them the connection, slide into their DMs. But also, when you do that from a place of, I want help, or I want to help you. One of the things I always do is, I end every mentoring call that I have where I'm on the phone with a mentor, and I say, hey, if there's anybody in my network that you want to be introduced to, please let me know. If I know them, I'm happy to make that introduction. Always bring value whenever you go anywhere, even if you're asking for something. That is something very crucial that I've learned over time, because I've talked to a lot of senior level people, and I always make that offer, and most of them say, oh, that's very kind of you. They don't get that often. People don't offer help when they're asking for help. Subscribe to the Disgruntled PM podcast, and subscribe to my new Patreon, where every Monday, for every guest, I have a bonus content episode where that also has actionable information based off of these guests' expertise. It's pointed questions to get pointed answers, get strategies like this, and a lot of other things. So, if you take nothing else from my talk, well, actually, the last two of those are optional, but the rest of those should be non-negotiables in how you go about doing your business every day. And I apologize if I'm a little all over the place. I built the PowerPoint, and I'm working off of a Word document that's not quite cooperating with me. So I'm kind of kind of losing my place a couple of times here. So I want to leave you with this. There's a time to take, but always go into interactions with an opportunity, with the position of giving. And why is this not showing up? Okay, there we go. So always go in the position of giving, always make offers to be assisting, and most importantly, be a connector. If you're building this network and these relationships, connect people, use them to your advantage, because when you talk to people, you talk to more and more people. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to find somebody that doesn't know somebody. And if you can connect them, what does that do for your relationship, for both of those people, and also your reputation? You know, we're building relationships. We're not just building a network here. And promote yourself, because nobody else will. You know, I haven't been the best at sliding in promotion for my podcast. I was in my written out thing, it was a lot smoother, but you know, because I'm having technical difficulties, it wasn't there. It wasn't as smooth. But remember that if you can't talk about yourself and promote yourself, why should anybody else do it? And I'll give you a real world example that just happened today about how to build this network and how to build these relationships. Somebody in my network posted a picture, said, or made a post on LinkedIn about, hey, let me see your cat pictures. And I made some comment about, the person said they were catless. And I said, you're not catless, you're cat depraved. And then that started a whole chain of comments of people making jokes. And somebody said, you know, somebody made a comment about, that wasn't very servant leadership of you. And I said, you're right, because I have a post coming out next week about how I don't like the word the term servant leadership. And me and this other person made a few exchanges in the comment section. So then I was out of connection request. So what do? I send her a message, say, hey, how's it going? You know, and she tells me she's an aspiring PM learning about the craft. And I said, oh, I have a podcast to learn about the craft, to teach you some of the stuff that you might want to know. And then we started chatting, and we've been messaging back and forth on LinkedIn all day. And this is how it happens. And you know what's funny is that one person, I connected her with someone else who teaches PMP prep. And then she's an engineer. I don't know who she knows that's going to say, we need somebody who knows how to do technical PM work. Oh, I met this guy. He's really cool. He's smart. Let me introduce you. Most of your opportunities do not come from your first connections. They come from your second and thirds. And that's through referrals. And that's that reputation, the hallway file. That's what's the most important thing that you can do, is build that reputation of who you are and what you're about. And if you're just a person that's collecting connections that never talks to anybody, it doesn't go unnoticed. If you're talking to people, guess what happens? They talk back. And then you start learning about them. And then when you have an ask, they want to help you. Do you think that Eddie's being scheduled to come on my podcast was an accident? No. I know Eddie. He has a certain set of skills that I'm interested in talking about. So I said, can you come on and talk about this? And that's how this works. So with that, are there any questions?
Any questions for Trevor?
I have one. It's not, well, actually, it's comment/question.
Mhm.
So Trevor, I just looked at your LinkedIn page. So are you now working for yourself, or?
Yes and
Yeah.
no. I do have a consulting company that I'm working with, but I am still actively looking as well, because I haven't quite figured out if I want to go all in on that yet or not.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I was just wondering because I've got a career. I'm retired Air Force, but I started another career in the defense industry, pretty much doing the same thing I was doing while I was on active. But I have side gigs too, so you know, kind of all over the place, but trying to find that path.
And that's that's why I built that consulting company. That's why I've got the podcast. That's why I do all the things that I'm working on, is to figure out, how do I make this work with what I need? Because I can go out and I can, I've been out of work for 10 months, 11 months. I've lost count. But does it sound like I'm sitting here desperate, crying for help? No, I'm telling everybody else what I've been doing to make things work.
Yeah,
Awesome.
everything that you said too kind of resonates because and it's a fine line because somebody reached out to me. So I've been volunteering with V2I since 2000 and 2020 or something like that, but it's been a while. And somebody reached out. I'm all about paying it forward and helping other veterans. But somebody reached out, and his first take was not even trying to get to know me, but hey, do you have a job for me?
Well,
So
and
I
that's
was
why
like, oh, okay.
I tell
Yeah.
people, you when you reach out to somebody, you're asking for their time and their story first. The job is immaterial unless they are a recruiter that specifically said they need somebody with your skill set. Then you're talking about something specific. But if you're just building those relationships, you're not going in there with a hard sell. You want to let them talk. You want to hear their story, because everybody loves to talk about themselves. Let them educate you about them, so you know, what can I ask for if I want to ask for something.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Trevor, thank you for sharing that. And brother, thank you. I want to thank you personally, because it's not easy to be that authentic and that raw about where you are. And I think the world needs that, right? I think the world needs a level of authenticity. I think the world needs honest talk. And I think the world needs right now, and we can do that here, right? This is a safe place to do that in. So thank you, brother, for sharing that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of what I do. Is I say I share the quiet parts out loud. You know,
That's right.
I
That's right.
made a post about being unemployed probably 3 or 4 months ago, where I said the hardest part about being unemployed, it's not the lack of paycheck. It's not the wondering where the bills are going to get paid and everything else. It's that when you tell someone you're unemployed, they look at you sideways, they don't know what to do with their hands, and they start backing away like you just told them you've got cancer.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part, is you can't talk about it with anyone. And the places you can talk about it are just down fests.
Yeah.
You know, I, I've just spent so much time trying to figure out, how do I make this work? And then eventually I'm playing the long game here, where all these people that I'm talking to, that I'm meeting, all these great guests I'm having on my show, eventually something is going to land, because there's too much being put out there about me, and too much subject matter expertise about me, that it can be ignored.
Yeah. The one thing that I loved about what you said, Trevor, is about, and my team knows this about me and others. I just don't like the word networking, because it implies something else.
It's transactional.
Yeah. But I love what you said about relationships, and the common ground that you and I both shared, because we were both in the 82nd, and that was the common ground. And I remember that conversation very, very much so, because it's not too often you run around someone who's been in the 82nd, and you absolutely understand what it's like to be there. Just like the same thing if you've ever been a Marine, if
Mm-hmm.
you've ever been in the Air Force and doing certain areas, and things of that nature, blah, blah, blah. But it was really good to be able to get to know you that way. And I'll be honest with you, the quality of a relationship matters, right? And why does it matter? So say, for example, I've been Vets to Industry is really picking very significant momentum up right now. And I've turned down several podcasts, but I said yes to yours. There's
Yeah.
a reason for that.
And I'll say this too, that it's not an accident that I've got an 82nd patch in my infrared flag framed behind me.
Yeah.
You know, I make it a point to subtly remind people of things. And that's why I say this is the greatest networking group that you could be a part of. That I don't care if you've been a president. There's only what 30 of them ever in the 30 or 40 of them in the history of the world. There's only how many senators and Congress people. But when you say you raised your hand to serve, it doesn't matter whether you deployed, whether you were Army, whether you were Guard, Reserves, whatever it was. Everybody understands what that meant. And everybody is, well, the 80% of those people are willing to say, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And Desi, yes, my podcast is on YouTube. Here, I'll put show links in the chat.
So any other questions? I don't want this question just be Trevor and I just talking to each other. What other questions are there? So one thing that really keynoted for me here was the side hustle. Someone mentioned that. I'd love to hear some more about that because I think that's really relevant to what's going on now. Yeah, Cynthia, go for it.
Yeah, so I do have I started a side gig in July, which is recruiting for optometrists. And I'm starting to, and it was through a friend, a former colleague of mine from I've known for years. And so I'm doing that. And at some point, I'm going to come back and give you all a presentation. I'm going to be helping a VSO, which I think I met on VETS2INDUSTRY, QRF up. So I'm going to be working
we
with,
know them well.
yes. So I'm going to be working with them, but I still need a gig that's going to pay, you know, money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a matter of just right now, I really believe, and y'all can correct me, but I really believe that it's just, you know, surviving and doing whatever you can. Well, I know we said don't like the word networking, but I mean, you know, getting together, working together, helping each other and sharing our successes and you know, bringing what's the word? Sorry. Building up other people. As you know, when you see someone, I always make a point of it. When I see somebody who has gotten a new job, I always, you know, comment on that. Just, you know, paying it. Hopefully, you know, just a little nicety, you know. And so here I am. I'm about to have 2 side gigs, and I still looking for full time, but you know, doing everything I can to, even if it's a temporary contract. I think we as job hunters now really need to be creative and understand this is something I always say to myself, that this is temporary. You know, maybe it'll grow into something permanent, but right now, whatever we can do to get, you know, to move forward, and it may be working 3 or 4 side gigs until something comes through. I have found even to try and find a temporary job, it's ridiculous. It's especially because I'm in recruiting, I'm in HR recruiting, and I could also do project management, but it doesn't matter. By the time you see those job postings, you know darn well there's like 1,000 people or some crazy number in front of you. So it's really, you know, we're talking about side gigs. It's really just doing what you got to do for right now and understanding that this is temporary. That's my mindset anyway. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but that's just the way I'm looking at things for right now. And I'm hoping that, you know, my dream job is still it's always been, Carmen, you know this, my dream job is to help veterans find work. I mean, I'm married to one, and I always have felt that anyone who has served our country should not be unemployed. And maybe that's idealistic, but it's just the way I feel. And, you know, hopefully I keep kind of saying, hire me. So, you know, hopefully it will come true at some point, you know, hopefully one of these gigs will turn into what, you know, my dream job. So anyway, I'll stop talking now.
Well, and you hit on a lot of great points there that, you know, I've said repeatedly that I keep telling myself in 6 months, I'm going to make more money than I ever have before. It's just going to take time and it's the right opportunity. You know, too many times we take the short view of things and say, well, this works, but it really doesn't. You know, I took a job when I got laid off in January of last year. It lasted 10 months. I saw the red flags in the interview and I still said yes.
Mhm.
So, you know, if you can find ways to keep yourself afloat and keep your family afloat, figure it's all a personal thing, but for me, I'm looking at building those relationships and building that network so that when the time comes and somebody says, "Oh, I know somebody,"
Mhm.
it's that Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby quote: "If you ain't first, you're last."
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's why I got myself out of networking within the PM space, because I'm one of 1,000 PMs to everybody in their Rolodex. But if I go talk to, like right now, I'm on a marketing binge where I'm connecting with a ton of marketers.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm learning? I'm getting tips and tricks on how to market myself because they're posting their content.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Great stuff, Trevor. Thank you so much, man. I think you just really good insights, great questions. Thank you for sharing again your heart and your wisdom today, brother. I so appreciate that.
Yeah,
What I'd
absolutely.
like to do now is I'm going to shift over to our sponsor, right? We would like to recognize our sponsor who makes it all happen behind the scenes, a Signal Health Group that makes these networking events even possible, right? So Signal Health Group was formed in 2012 by Han March, who happens to be on our call today, right? And has agencies operating throughout the United States. They have a very unique franchise model, right? Just for veterans. And we're going to hear more about that today. So I'd like to bring on the Director for Franchise Development, Joel Stewart. Joel, are you out there? You'd like to take us through this part of the program? That would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Take it away, brother.
All right. Yeah. First, I just want to comment on that idea of networking and building real relationships. We just got off recently the V2I annual conference, networking conference, and it was just really awesome. That event is geared towards relationship building. It's called networking because that's the most recognizable thing out there, but it's really a relationship building conference. And I got to have like accent battles with Eddie's wife. We were singing karaoke with the QRF Up girls. I was
Yeah, that
peer
was great.
pressuring Matthew into doing a challenge to drink a scorpion in Aruba. It was really awesome relationship building experience. So we
And
don't have
other
the detail.
stories we will leave nameless, right, Joel?
Yes, but
Yes. Okay.
we don't have the details yet for the 2026 one, but just keep an eye out for that because that event is geared towards relationships. Everything that we were just talking about. It's not geared towards, more of like a formal setting. It's geared towards the informal, really getting to know each other. So from that, I'm going to pivot it. And Signal Health Group was a sponsor of that cruise as well. So there was a cruise last year. I think next year it might be on land. But it's pivoting into what we do. So Signal Health Group provides non-medical, medical, and hospice care for our seniors and disabled individuals in our country. We help as many people as we can. It could be, people that have the financial means to get help private pay. Could be people that don't have financial means, and we're working with Medicaid to try to find caregivers and take care of people in their homes. It could be working through Medicare for our seniors, 65 and older, to try to make sure that they have what they need to stay in their home and live their best life. So this doesn't just happen. There's organizations that are built to provide this care for seniors, and that's what we do. So our corporate location started in Indiana back in 2012. Our founder, who's over there smiling, Han March, she was volunteering in a nursing home, and she was just really upset at the way that she saw veterans being treated. And she thought, and this is the way capitalism works, is I'm going to make a difference myself. I don't have to wait on the charity of others. I'm going to start a business and I'm going to make a difference in the lives of seniors. So we are trying to spread across the country with that corporate culture. We're out there not just to make money, but to make a difference through the work that we put out into the community. So if this is something that kind of strikes a chord with you and you're thinking entrepreneurship might be a way you want to go, I'll highly encourage you to reach out to me. So after I finish talking, I'll drop a brochure in the chat and my LinkedIn and my calendar link. And if you want to just schedule a time, we'll talk more in depth about our franchise. We did really, we rolled out a program a couple of years ago for veterans. We've been fine tuning it. But this is when I first discovered how pro-veteran Han March was. We were looking at different ways to grow the franchise, and I said, Han, why don't we invest in veterans and put our money that direction? She said, build me a program. I'll back you 100%. So I built out this program, and to my surprise, she just said, great, let's do it. And I was like, really? We're just going to do it. And so what that program is, the main program, we've got a couple of variations, but the main program is that for a non-medical franchise, this is what is generally considered senior care. You don't need any medical credentials or anything like that. We will fully finance our franchise fee, 100% for veterans. We do it at with a 3-year payback, no payments in your first year, a third of what you owe in their second year, 2/3 in your third year, and that is built out that way so that you can ideally pay it back out of business income, where you don't have to pay a whole bunch of money out of pocket. And again, like one of the reasons this is so amazing on the part of Han to agree to this is it still costs her 20,000 or more out of pocket to get you trained, supported, and opened. And she offers that financing at 0% interest. So she is literally investing in you and counting on you being successful to be able to pay her back. It really is pretty incredible. I've been in the franchise world for a lot of years now. I've done international conferences all overseas. I've done all kinds of stuff, but I've never met a franchise that's willing to go out of pocket to help veterans. They always will, do a little token thing here, 5,000 off the franchise fee or this. They always do token little things to try to show they're veteran, but I've never met any willing to go out of pocket. And that's just, I think, says a lot about our company and our founder. So yeah, I'll drop my stuff in the chat. If you want to reach out and learn about what it is to start a senior care company, there's no obligation. I'm just there to arm you with information. And if it seems like it's a good fit, we'll keep having more conversations until you're ready to make a decision, yes or no. But it all starts with a conversation. So hopefully you'll reach out and we'll have a chance to talk. Back to you, Eddie.
Thank you, Joel. I appreciate you, man. So one of the things that's really important, this is an insight I was going to hold off to later to share, but I just want to make it because this is really germane to not only Joel talking about this franchise modeling opportunity, but coming back to the side gig. Here's the reason why I'm going to ask you to reflect on this because of what I am seeing in the space. And I see a lot of different trends, and I have a lot of heavy anecdotal evidence that would suggest these side hustles could potentially turn into something very significant. So when you think about a Signal Health Group and what they offer, especially with the financing involved and things like that, I think it's extraordinary opportunity. Second thing I would actually talk to you about very specifically is that because the side hustle, I think Cynthia said it really well, but I also want to build on that for a second because it's almost like self-defense, right? And what Trevor basically said and how interesting it is that people are like, not considering a side hustle before, but I want you to just think about it. Think about it in the context. Could you be the entrepreneurial type that can evolve a side gig or a side hustle into something much more? And I'll tell you why, and where I'm beginning to see a little bit more of this. I'm beginning to see, and I can't back this up with significant data yet, but heavy anecdotal data that there are some people, because of AI, what AI is doing to really, some people say ruin the space, but also adding to the space in terms of what's being automated and commoditized in terms of the skill sets. And then there's a little bit of hesitation going on out there by many employers, right, who are slowing down their role in terms of their hiring. That's also happening at the same time. And now, because of all these AI initiatives that are happening across multiple industries, across all of these employers all at the same time, there's a heavy bit of distrust in what's going on in terms of employment, at least trusting employers. So when you think about it, there's a perfect storm going on. And I offer that insight because I'm seeing it over and over again as an early formation, that I'm putting it out there as something to think about. Now, you could say at the end of the day, Eddie, I got a job, I'm good, I think you're full of crap, and that's fine. That's totally cool. I get that. Just give it some thought. When you think about what Signal offers, you think about your side hustle, I am beginning to see some people turning in side hustles into their full-time gigs. And I think it's interesting that that might be a viable option for you. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to my moderator, the next moderator on this next opportunity for a highlight that we think is really important to us. Ms. Carmen, are you there? Carmen, you might be on mute.
Are you saying karma?
Carmen.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so hey, listen, hey, we're just going to play the video. Yeah, thanks, Carmen, for reminding me in my notes here. So we're going to play a video for you on Defender's Gateway. It's a phenomenal app. When you get it, when you get an opportunity, check out not only the app, but what it actually offers. You'll notice that we're very close. We're very close to Defender's Gateway because we have a library of aggregated resources, and they're also an aggregate of resources that are free to you. So this short video is going to give you an opportunity to see the value of what they do, help promote that who they are, and because of the value of the vast majority of everything on that app, it gives you an opportunity to really truly get value for yourself. So check it out for yourself. Here's a short video. Is there audio on that?
Your service.
There you
We
go.
wanted to give first responders, law enforcement officers, and members of the military. You lay your lives on the line every day to protect and serve others. Thank you for your service. We wanted to give back, and we're proud to introduce the Defender's Gateway app, making it easy for you to access your benefits all in one place, right at your fingertips. Now it's easier than ever to locate health and wellness services, connect with nationwide job opportunities, access exclusive deals on goods and services, explore franchise ownership, and connect with charities that have you and your family's best interests at heart. All this and more in a single trusted app. While you're busy out there saving lives, now you can save time and money too. Download the Defender's Gateway app for free. Visit defendersgateway.com. Defender's Gateway, your service, our gratitude.
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen. All right. We'd like to now shift over to one of my other moderator and partners in crime, Chef Jan. Chef Jan, are you there?
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm here.
Awesome.
Ready?
Take it
Hi,
away for
everyone.
the next portion.
I'd like to welcome any recruiters that are here today. I saw one, Robert Corky. Would you like to share with us what your company does?
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Robert. I work for Hyundai Motor America. What I do is I help veteran spouses and their dependents find jobs nationwide with Hyundai. It could be anything from the dealership opportunities, which could be sales, parts, and technicians or support staff. At the corporate level, it could be anything from IT, cybersecurity, aviation, drones, shipping and receiving. You know, Hyundai does a little bit of everything. So depending on what you're looking for, I can kind of direct traffic that way. What I'll do is I'm gonna put my information in the chat, but what I do is when I email you, I'm gonna send you an email with a bunch of website links. This is very common. I get asked all the time when they receive it, hey, there's nothing for me. I live here. And then I ask them, did you open the links or did you just read the page? A lot of times they just read the page and it says California. Every location on that sheet has jobs in multiple cities and states. The California locations have jobs in New Jersey. The Alabama locations have jobs in California. So open up the website links, and you'll be able to find something that you're interested in. What I also do is if you're interested in just networking, I have a 70-page Word document that I will email you. I'm a little behind on my emails right now. I have been on the road since August 1st. I'm currently sitting in, I don't know, Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. And then when I'm done here on Monday, I leave for Holman Air Force Base, then Fort Bliss and El Paso, and eventually Davis Monthan and back to California. You know, I should be home by the end of the month. But when you reach out to me, I will send you a few things here or there. You know, like I said, I travel a lot. You know, I spend about a week at a time in each region. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robert. This Is there any other recruiters here today? Please raise your hand. I'll call upon you.
There, we got Zach raising his hand.
Okay, please, Zach.
So I'm not real sure how long I plan to do this because it's been a commission only kind of position, and it's been great while I've been in school. But it's essentially it's life insurance. The company that I partner with is a financial firm that remotely helps people get their state life and health insurance licenses, and then we help them learn about IULs, Index Universal Life Plans, and investing through life insurance and retirement planning as well for 401k rollovers. And it's been great. It's taught me a lot. I didn't know anything about Zoom before coming into it, so it was able to kind of help me a little bit with that and learn about the networking. And it definitely, like what Trevor said, I've exhausted every bit of my networking. So I'm in my last little bit also in college for University of Phoenix online, so I'm in the kind of a pickle of depending on which if I want to keep going the entrepreneurial route and try to stick with it, as I've always kind of enjoyed talking with people and being able to offer them opportunities that not many people can get, and I've really enjoyed it, but I've been kind of having trouble because Indeed was what I was using, and they don't align with commission only jobs. So I've been kind of out of work for the last couple of months with that, and I've been using LinkedIn like Trevor and Eddie did suggest, and it's helped a little. But as far as actually getting clientele, it's been a different story. Nobody unfortunately likes talking life insurance until it's something unfortunate happens, and then we're kind of in a pickle. But if anybody would be interested, it is something that is there's kind of a whatever schedule you'd like to do. I can always throw my Calendly link in the chat, and if anybody would like to connect with LinkedIn, it'd be no problem. I've been doing it since May of last year. And I've learned a little bit about like securities licenses also, that they is also something that they do sponsor if that's something of interest to people. I don't know much about it personally, but I've just been able to help people in my little community learn about like college planning for children, because not many people know about that. And like I have family in refineries that don't know about the 401k rollovers. So if anybody would like to know more, though, I'll book a knowledge when it comes to it, and I'd love to connect. But I'd like to also talk to anybody that may be looking for somebody in HR or possibly recruiting as well, as that might be something I'd want to try to transition to more full time. But thank you for letting me be on.
Okay, is there any other recruiters here before we get to do our first breakout room? Okay.
Could I just tease something out a little bit? I'd like to spend a couple of minutes with Robert over at Hyundai. Robert, you got an extra second?
Oh yeah, I'm free all day today. I'm sitting in the barracks room on an
Okay.
Air Force base, catching up on work because I've been on the road for a while.
Yeah. So can I pick your brain for a moment and just
Yep.
maybe because this might be beneficial to the group. I'd love to pick your brain. How long have you been in this role helping Hyundai?
I am a unicorn, okay, and I will tell you guys that. For example, I am the person that I retired from the military. I interviewed. I retired in June. I interviewed in July, August, started in September, and I've been doing the same job for almost 13 years.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've helped people find jobs. I'll average about 400 new hires a year, just me alone. I will average about 255 events, just me alone throughout the year. So
Wow.
it just depends on kind of what's going on, and it sounds like a lot, 400 and some jobs, but hell, we have 800 dealerships. So in my eyes, I'm doing bad because every dealership can hire somebody, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So
but
just a really
I've been
quick
doing this for a
question
while.
though. Just a really quick question on my side, just because I think there's value, and then we can move on to the next thing here. But I'd love to just pick your brain, maybe a 2-minute drill for what you're seeing for veterans in terms.
Can we move? We
No,
want
no,
to
we
go to
can't.
our first
Well, I'll be
breakout.
done in a second. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I think this is valuable. Could you could you just talk just a little bit about what you're seeing? Just 1 or 2 minutes, just talking about what you're seeing in terms of the veterans themselves coming towards Hyundai. Anything insights that you can help our networking group here a little bit today?
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing, and it kind of it's different depending on whether you're a staff NCO and higher or junior enlisted. Staff NCOs and officers are coming to us saying, "Hey, I want to be a project manager." A lot of times I'll ask them, "Well, what do you want to manage?" And they don't know. Okay, they're taking the project manager license and they're taking their certificates and they're doing all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, they don't know what they want to manage. They think because they were a project manager or they think they were a project manager in the military that they can do it in the civilian sector.
Yeah.
Um, in our world in Hyundai, there isn't necessarily a project manager. It's a collateral duty for somebody else. Okay. When it comes to junior enlisteds are telling, when they sit through their steps and taps and all that kind of stuff, that, hey, you served X amount of years, you were a sergeant, you got out and you did this and you can lead and you can be a company manager. No, you really can't. It just depends on what you're kind of going for because you don't have the industry experience. You have the military experience, so uh, you have the skills to lead people, not necessarily the skills of what they're looking for immediately. Because they want somebody they don't always have to train.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I think that's extraordinarily helpful, man. I appreciate that experience that you shared with us. So let me do this. I think we're a couple of minutes ahead of schedule, but I'm gonna switch over to Jan. I think you've got the breakout rooms, or someone on our team has got the breakout rooms, right?
It's Matthew. Matthew's on board today.
All right, yeah, I'm here for the breakout rooms. So for the breakout rooms, so we're gonna go to at least be 4 rooms, about 5 or 4 people each. You'll have a moderator. You'll have somebody there to moderate the conversation, to speak about whatever you guys want to talk about, but just make sure to keep it on topic of with the moderator, and you have about 30 minutes. So I'm about to send everybody to the rooms. Is there any other questions regarding all this at all?
Matthew, can you leave all the moderators out of the breakout rooms for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, but everybody about to send everybody to the rooms in 3, 2, 1.
Recording in. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully everyone had a good time in that breakout room number 1. Okay, so we got a little bit of an update here. We're gonna we're gonna go right into combining our resource sharing and our elevator pitch. And I'm gonna have Eddie, if you don't mind, help me give an example of how that elevator pitch is gonna go for our career seekers.
Yeah, so just generally speaking, you want to always have this be conversational, right? So when you're introducing, you always want to picture yourself in the context of introducing yourself for the first time. You only have about 20, 30 seconds typically. So you want to state your name always so it's memorable. Secondly, you want to be able to articulate what you're looking for in terms of a career progression, things that you're looking for, especially if you're in a networking event, right? Where you're from. If you're in the military, yes, absolutely. Hey, my name's Eddie Dunn. I'm a former Army, paratrooper out of the 82nd Airborne. It's great to meet you. And, here's what I've been thinking about in my career. Love to have, and I've been a talent innovator, and I'm thinking about getting into HR. Would love to talk to you and pick your brain about that a little bit more. It could be that simple. You have about 20, 30 seconds, but what I really love about introducing yourself is that I want you to be yourself, right? Always, always, always be yourself. It can be creative. We have a set script and what you want to go by, but I find a lot of times when you go by a set script and you rehearse it, it still comes across a little inauthentic. What you want is to be yourself, right? Talk about who you are, but try to hit the precision where that person who's on the receiving end always understands that I know their name, I know what they're about, they're former military. Awesome. That's great. right? But sometimes you have to contextualize, right? So if you're meeting someone for the first time and may not know about military service and the context matters, maybe it's about, hey, I'm Eddie Dunn and I may skip my military service, and you may find something where this person's with a bunch of kids and it's like, hey, I'm a parent too, and I have 3 kids. So it could be that simple to draw the affinity. Remember what Trevor said earlier before. It's about drawing that interest and the affinity towards that person and the relationship you're trying to build. So networking isn't about what you can get, it's about what you can build into. All right. So generally speaking, that's the way I would love for people to show up here today. Does that make sense, Chef Jen? Okay. So she's on, so Chef Jen's on mute for a second. So let's do this. Let's do a little practice round and see if people want to pitch who they are and tell me about yourself, or just do your elevator pitch. Who would like to go first? Typically, I'm very comfortable with awkward silences, so happy to pick on somebody first. So, but listen, this is a safe place. So who would love to go first?
I can go first because I am probably not the best at it. Um,
Well, listen, let me stop you there, Mally. Is that
okay.
Mally? Can I say Mally? Is that correct?
It's pronounced Molly, but
Molly?
I can go
Okay.
by both.
All right, Molly. No, I want to get it right. So,
Okay.
Molly, don't ever put yourself down like that. I want you are very
Okay.
good at this. And actually, what's going to happen is you're going to knock it out of the park. That much I
Okay.
know to be true. You know why I know that? I'm going to tell you why I know that. Not because I'm pretending, but because you
Okay.
went first, you have the courage to do it. And third, I just want you to be yourself and just let it roll.
Okay.
No worries. Go for it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Molly Wrightson. I was a formal 14 Golf, which is air defense artillery, air battle system management operator. I served
Wow.
with the Florida National Guard for 6 years. As you already know, we were mostly active duty because of the multiple hurricanes that we face at least 3 times in a season. I am currently a family intervention specialist with Youth Villages. So the reason why I am here, I am seeking to build my network and to um, expand my knowledge, meet awesome, amazing people, because I do, and I really do enjoy surrounding myself with other veterans. I feel like, we have such a strong bond and we have a lot in common. And I want to be able to be an asset and help be the light to somebody else who might be seeking the same type of um, camaraderie that we used to have with the military family, within the military family.
Awesome, Molly. That was great.
Thank you.
You are good at this. Good stuff. We're on a roll. Who wants to go next? Like I said, I'm very comfortable with awkward silences.
Well, I'm not.
Well, go for it, my friend.
So I am David Mohammed. I'm here in Tampa, Florida, and I was a former Army medic. Currently, I
Cool.
am doing project management in the cybersecurity field, particularly doing premise and cloud-based firewalls, helping customers understand what their network is, how we can help them secure it, and then going ahead and taking them through the whole process. So it sounds kind of boring. That's what I do for work. But in my spare time, what I like doing is I do a lot of mentoring. So I am on Mill Mentor. I will be on Post Betterottery shortly. And then I also do mentoring with Act Now Education. So if you would like to connect, I will have my information in the chat.
Awesome, David. That's how you do it. Who would like to go next? Let's get a few more. We're on a roll.
I'll go. I'm Joel Stewart. I'm the Director of Franchise Development for Signal Health Group, but my CEO, Han March, graciously allows me to put a lot of time into VETS2INDUSTRY and post veterati as well. So I'm working a lot on all of those things. I will be at the Military Influencer Conference manning the post veterati booth, and I hope to see some friendly faces there. So if you're going to be at the Military Influencer Conference, make sure you hunt down our booth and say hi.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel. How about the folks I was in the last breakout room? Gary, Desi, you guys want to go for it?
Sure, sure, I'll go for it. My name is Desi Harris. I'm from Columbus, Mississippi. I was a 91 Bravo in the Army. I deployed to Iraq in 2011 and 12. I served for 6 years. I'm currently enrolled at Mississippi State for industrial technology with an emphasis in manufacturing and maintenance. And yeah, I came here to meet new people, and as you guys call it, what word you guys use? Not. Oh, I got nervous now. Not making new relationships. I'm here to make new relationships, not network.
That's right. That's all good. And you can call it networking. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just my little personal preference, but I don't want to influence you. You network away. That was outstanding, Desi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Others. Go for it, Zach.
So my name is Zach Vault. I'm 38. I live in a little town southeast Texas called Cooch, Texas. I was medically retired as a sergeant, a E5 from the Marine Corps Infantry in 2013 after 8 years of service. I led a lot of different teams. I picked up promotion real quick. Was involved with training the Iraqi army to kind of operate how we were before we pulled out. When I got medically retired, I wasn't really trying to. I was trying to re-enlist, and it backfired. So it kind of took me some time to figure out what to do with life. I started school for University of Phoenix in 2022, and for a bachelor in business management and leadership. And I should be graduating October 27th with that. And in the meantime, I got licensed as a state life and health insurance agent. I work remotely for a firm that helps with educating people on IULs, Index Universal Life Plans, 401k rollovers, and college planning strategies for children that they can use for more than college. I'm kind of using this as an opportunity to see if that's something I want to continue progressing with because I'm in the process of either seeing if I want to continue getting like an LLC and own my own business, or maybe try to find something not commission based that'll help pay a little more of the bills. So I'm looking to also relationship build. I've always kind of loved doing that, and hopefully being able to connect with some people through here. I know I've added a lot of people today on LinkedIn, so it's been a pleasure. I've loved meeting every one of y'all, and I definitely look forward to doing this more.
Awesome, Zach. Good stuff. We are on a roll, man. Who would like to go next? We may actually get around the room on this one. Terrence, how about yourself?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. Hi, my name is Terrence Brooks, and I am an Army veteran. I was in the Signal Corps. I was a cryptologic specialist. And since my time in the Army, I have been in the IT industry. I have worked in the financial services industry and the automotive industry. Um, I currently am an enterprise architect with Ally Financial, and I haven't been on this forum for a while, so I thought I would come back and kind of see who's on here. And I see some familiar faces from the last time I was here, and I just wanted to keep this network open, and just in case I need to reach out for future opportunities. And I am always willing to connect with people on LinkedIn and help people in their transition journey, just like I got helped in mine.
Could I ask
Remember to
permission?
keep those relationships nurtured throughout the whole time. That way you don't all of a sudden show up when it's time for you needing something.
Yeah. Could I just try to cross-pollinate a potential here for Terrence? I saw a role flash up from Robert over at Hyundai for a radar technician. Did I see that correctly? I'm not in the chat. Robert, did you see
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I put it up there. It was for RG Next.
Okay. Do you think someone like a Terrence with his signal background is even close to something like that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm reposting it from somebody else I know.
Okay. Terrence, did you see that connection point in the chat on I don't know if I'm spitballing here, so I don't know.
I didn't see that specific role, but I did see some other roles that Robert has posted.
Okay.
You know, and I think I think he has reached out to me in the past. So
Okay.
yes, I am always looking out for roles in the automotive industry. So I'm
Okay.
gonna be looking
Okay.
at
So
those.
you guys are connected then. Good. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Terrence, that you did a great job. Thank you. All right. Who would like to go next? Why don't we do this? Terrence, why don't you select the next person who goes?
Oh wow, that's even more pressure than that actually having a say. Um. Okay. Let me see. You know, I accidentally turned off my machine, so I had to reboot and come back. So if I pick somebody who spoke while I was offline, then I'll just go ahead and pick somebody else. Um, how about Han?
Ah, Han of all people.
I picked her because she's right next to me on the.
I don't know if Han, do you want to talk?
Well, you can hear, the kid background, but I'm gonna try. So I'm Han March. I volunteer for V2I, and I am also going to be at MAKE, and I hope that I can see some friendly face stop by the booth and say hi to us. And if anything that I can do, please reach out. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Han. Han, we're on a roll. Why don't you pick the next person?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm a grandma, so I have two grandkids running around and yelling, screaming. Sorry about that. How about
You're not a
you know what?
grandma.
I am, David. I am. Thank you. You know what? I love to pick on my friend, and I love him so dearly. So, Dan, I'm going to pick Dan.
Nice.
I love you, Dan. I see you soon.
Yeah, that's great. We're gonna see you at the MIC. So Dan Collins. Well, the big news here is that I am 60 days away from retiring and being a full-time volunteer. So I'm all about how many retirements I can collect. I'm retired from the Marines. I'm retired from the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. As soon as you can say that, we'll change the name of it. And then I am now drawing a check from the Social Security Administration. So, yeah, unbelievable. The fact that I made it this long is every day is a gift. So, but I am the project manager for Post Veterati. So I'm actively recruiting mentors and mentees to join the system. So postveterati.org and sign up.
You
That's
can
all I
be
got.
both, correct, Dan? You can be both a mentor.
You will be able to be both. We're right in our infancy right now, so we're looking for people to be one or the other at this time. You will be able to do both eventually, but we are just going live here in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm gonna pause there for a second. I think we've got a number. They thank you, Dan. Appreciate you always. And next celebration at your place, at your house with your lovely wife for sure. Awesome. So let me shift over. I think there's some resources to be shared here. I think, was it Matthew? I think you're going to share some resources, Carmen.
Yes, it's me.
Awesome.
So just before I go over the resources and also the breakout rooms, just to introduce myself a little more, because I know kind of rushed to the breakout room, but so I'm Matthew Wee, 20-year active duty Marine, served in multiple countries, states, the standard California, North Carolina, Virginia, DC, Bahrain, Germany, Burkina Faso, Africa, and many other places as well. So when I got out from the Marine Corps, I got out during 2021, during, I guess, a little COVID, trying to figure things out. I had to do my did my skill bridge online and also in person. My transition classes were on WebEx. So that made me reach out to find different organizations where I can better myself and find who I needed to be. And before I became doing all this volunteer work, I was definitely quiet. And a lot of people here know that, and I still am to the point sometimes, but I do like to reach out and get volunteer and do all this. But doing all this stuff, it's definitely hard to, I know, especially as somebody like myself who's quiet, but it helped me out through these 4 years of transitioning to where I need to. I'm currently, so when I got out, I did this program called HillVets. HillVets in Washington, D.C. allowed me to work in the congressional member's office for about 6 months to a year. Got to do that. Became a government contractor. Was a Department of Defense. Was the TED Stevens Center for Arctic Security Studies. Found that job through networking and utilizing my skills as a foreign area officer in the Marine Corps, a foreign area staff non-commissioned officer in the Marine Corps. Did that for about a year and some change. Ended up here in the Department of State, where I am a civil service foreign affairs officer. Be close to about a year and a half. Also through networking and just getting myself out there, improving my resume, talking skills, and trying to get better at things. Currently, it's a 2-year term position. So with the stuff going on, I got pivot. So I've been constantly pivoting for these 3 to 4 years. So, I have an interview next week with the DC Mayor's Office of Veteran Affairs for one of their director of operation positions. And just want to say that, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is something I never thought of years ago. So when you practice all this stuff and like go to these events, you could turn somebody who's very quiet, who didn't think I'd be in the way I'm at now, volunteering with all these organizations, didn't think I'd be on cruises, speaking or doing these networking events or talking to members of Congress or people in the federal organizations. So just put it out there just to say is utilize those resources out there. Be wary of what you want to do. Don't do too much, because I can say I have suffered a lot of burnout too, where I've tried to do so much. But I did put a list of resources. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but there are a lot of them. You know, uh, you know, there are plenty out there. There's Wounded Warrior Project, Team RWB, the Key Community, Defense Institute, Act Now, as everybody says, Sales Platoon, Commit, Hire Heroes, Operation Uniform, but plenty out there, Post Veterati. Utilize as much as you can. Don't utilize all of them, but just be aware of what you want to do. So I just wanted to talk about that before I send everybody to the breakout room, but it'll be 3 rooms, 5 people each, about 30 minutes. And then we head back here and we'll kick it off the rest of the schedule. So I just want to say, use your resources as wisely and, always grow as much as you can. So about to send everybody to the room, and 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So LinkedIn has gives you the first year free on them. So make
Okay.
sure when you sign up for LinkedIn, that you do that well. And there's LinkedIn offers a lot of LinkedIn ways to optimize your profile, right?
Okay.
How to get your headshot right, everything around your banner titles, and there's a lot of advice out there. So start digging your way through that and setting up your profile as soon as you can, and then make sure you don't have to pay for it the first year.
Okay.
You can get a premium account the first year.
I put in the link there.
You did? You're amazing, David. Thank you, man.
Let me find it now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's do this. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's spend the last few minutes here together and see, I think I like the way that we did it last time, and that was just spontaneous. But who would like to go first? Who would like to go next? And then you have the power to pick the next person. So we can keep this rolling so everyone stays on their toes. Now, those who have already gone don't need to go again, but let's make sure that we start talking to people. Let everyone get a turn in the barrel really quick, right? Everyone knows how to make their introduction to themselves. Again, stay within yourself. Make sure you give your name, your purpose for being here. Talk a little bit about what you're looking for in the context of who you are and what you're going towards, those kinds of things. Keep it conversational and keep it moving, and then pick the next person after that. Does that sound
So I
about
get
okay?
so I get to pick the next one?
Yes,
Since I went
actually you
last?
do. Yeah, you do, Mr. Collins. Yes. You get to pick.
That's great because I just happened to see Susan Smith just
Yes.
so how about giving us your elevator pitch there, Susan?
Hi, y'all. I'm Susan Smith. I'm a Navy veteran. I started as a Navy recruiter and then crossed over or I started as a Navy musician, crossing over to the recruiting field and then deciding to stay in the recruiting field the rest of the time that I was in. Once I transitioned out of the Navy, now I am a Veterans Outreach Program Specialist, or DVOP, with Alabama Department of Workforce. And what we do in my position is I work with different veterans that have barriers to employment so that they can overcome any barrier that they might have so they get that sustainable employment rather than going from one job to the next job. It's more of a career focus long term. And it's an awesome job. I'm probably about the luckiest person in the world that I decided to hop over from musician to recruiter. And so if anybody wants more information on the Jobs for Veterans State Grant Program, contact me. And if anybody needs assistance finding a job, reach out to me.
Did you put your information in the chat already?
I have not done that. I will do that.
Awesome. Awesome. And what instrument?
I was a bassoonist and they told me I was going to play saxophone. And so I played bassoon and saxophone.
Wow. Interesting. No one plays the bassoon anymore. That's amazing.
It's a good instrument.
That's a very cool instrument. My wife is a music major, and so piano and everything like that. And my whole family's musically inclined, so I'm always interested in who's playing what. So good stuff.
The funny thing about Susan, I can't imagine her with a bassoon that's taller than she is.
It's a big instrument. It's a big instrument, yeah. Good, good. Susan, you get to pick who goes next.
Okay, since I'm getting in last, I don't know who has not gone yet. Let's see, has Terrence gone?
Terrence, I believe, has gone. Yes, Terrence.
Uh-oh. Let's see, what about David?
David with his Labradoodle?
Yes.
Yes.
Here's the puppy.
There you go.
So I'm David in Tampa, and I have golden doodles. And they just want to have fun and meet people just like I do. So if you want to meet people, come see me in Tampa. And I've got a dog you can hold here. So he's about 12 weeks old.
Nice. Beautiful. What kind of work are you looking for, David?
Oh, yes, I am looking for a job in technical project management. Whether it's cybersecurity or SaaS app development and integration. I enjoy taking things that are super complex and breaking them down into logical steps. So process development is another thing that I like doing.
Yeah. Interesting. Good stuff. Thank you, David. You get to pick the next person.
All right. Hey, Gary, you here? Gary Oates, not there. How about Janya Tung?
Hey everyone, I'm Jana Tung. I'm a retired Marine. Retired in 2014. I'm here a volunteer over about a year now, a little bit over a year now with V2I, and currently serving as your VP. I was in the food service program during my time in the military. I was in food accounting, and then I got selected to be the chef for several general officers during the last 15 years of my career. Award-winning dining facility manager, and again retired in 2014 and transitioned still within the food service realm as a regional sales manager for commercial equipment. I work for MeWe America. We're the Porsche of the oven world.
Love it.
So there's many ovens out there, but we are the Rolls Royce, the Porsche of the oven world. So if you kind of see on my LinkedIn, you see a lot of bread or some stuff to do with pastries. I work with a lot of artisan pastry chefs out there. But wonderful thing of being part of V2I is brought the network to connect with my fellow service members. And I call myself a networker and a connector, because that's all part of what we do in life, and to build each other up and encourage each other. So being part of V2I also has given the opportunity from not just going virtual, but to live events. And we've done a couple of live events here in 2025, here in the local area in San Diego is where I'm at. So if you'd like to connect and you want to volunteer in the events that we do here, I know Ms. Rivers is here, has participated, and if anybody else would like to be a part of that, please connect with me, and that's me. And so
Awesome.
the next person, let's see who I got here that has not gone. Oh, let's see. Who has not gone? Okay. Let's go, Miss Karma. Tag, you're it.
Thanks. My name is Karma Connor Marroquin. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I retired from the U.S. Public Health Service, which is the Surgeon General's Corps, if you don't know. I retired in 2017, and then I had 2 kids. So that was my retirement. And then I started a business. It's called Women Warriors Connect, where I help women to connect to different free resources that are out there and available to them just because they served. I help veterans in general to feel better. I just wrote a book not too long ago called The Veteran's Guide to DIY Mental Health. And I have a variety of different resources that I've created as a part of my business. But my next step in business is to take a service that I'm going to call Karma with Benefits and take it to businesses who hire veterans that maybe don't have the HR structure or the knowledge on how to help their veterans. So I want to provide a concierge service where I connect their veterans with the resources that would be most helpful to them based on their needs. So whether that's a free retreat to go on, whether that is some legal or housing or financial assistance, I want to be able to connect the veterans through the businesses. So that's my plan. So if anybody has any guidance, tips, or pointers, I'd be open to that.
Awesome, Karma. That was good. That's good karma. Well, of course, I was going to say that. Of course. Yeah, it's like when people say, Eddie, are you done? There you go. Karma with benefits. Love it. That's self-advertising like the best of the kind right there. That's good stuff. So Vets to Industry. So this is your first time with Vets to Industry? I think your first time with us?
I've been to other events, but it's been a little while.
Okay. We should probably have a conversation and see if we can help you in some way, because we have a lot of interesting things going on in terms of, we have almost an inexhaustible resource library of free resources. That is the mainstay of why we exist to begin with, and it's always been a part of who we are. But if there's something interesting that you're doing at a local level and there's a way to partner, we more than happy to have a conversation.
Great.
Awesome. Good. You get to pick who's next. I think, how much more time do we have? I think we've got a couple of more minutes before I think we're going to end at 6 o'clock. But I think almost everyone has gone so far, but go ahead, go for it, Karma.
Yeah, I
Fred
am.
gone?
That's going to require me to recall who's gone.
Try
But,
Fred.
screen's on. I don't know if anybody else hasn't gone.
Yeah, so let me do this. Let me
Just go
let me
ahead and
wrestle that.
unmute.
Let me wrestle that responsibility back from you. So I'll go ahead and take it, Carmino. Who
Okay.
is not gone yet? Does anyone want to step up and raise their hand and go one more? I think we'd probably do one or two more before we wrap up.
What about Fred Foltz? Have you gone?
I have.
Okay. What about Gary? You still gone?
No, I haven't gone. I'm sorry. I
Go
I
for
was
it,
gone.
Gary.
I had to step out. I had to step out for a minute, but okay. I guess hi, my name is Gary. I'm a 24-year retired Navy veteran, and I have I have many, I have a, now as I'm saying it, I'm screwing it up.
No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't shit on yourself. Just keep it going, man. You're doing well.
Hi, my name is Gary Oates. I am a 24-year retired Navy veteran. I have a variety of experiences in leadership, management, operations, planning, and logistics experience. And I've served here in America and internationally, where I was working for senior leadership and fulfilling manpower and operation roles throughout the Far East.
Good. What kind of work are you looking for, Gary?
That's a good question. I did it after I retired. I did a career pivot into the technology industry. I got my certifications and stuff like that, but then the industry just sort of let go of a bunch of personnel, and I realized that in my last job, I really wasn't about fixing just working on computers all day long and not being around people. I'm more of a people person, so.
Did we lose you, Gary? Gary, going once. Did we lose you, man?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you back. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Yeah, so I'm currently doing another career pivot into looking to leverage my experience and in background in both the military and in the civilian sector industries, and currently aiming to pivot into the financial sector.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah,
Good job,
I need to
Gary.
work on that. I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, listen, no worries. No worries. It's all good. It's all good. You did well. You did well. And you'll get much better at it as we go, right? It'll just be conversational, roll off your tongue, and you did fantastic, Gary. Don't worry about that. So all good. So listen, I think we're going to end on that note. Gary, you brought us home in the context of where we went. Yeah, there you are. We got you. Is that your Star Trek shirt on? Is that Star Trek? Oh, it's Adidas. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm having fun with you. No worries. You were bent down. It looked like a Star Trek reference there. I was like, okay, that's a cool shirt. But no worries.
Nothing cool. Nothing cool on me right now.
So listen, I'm going to wrap up here. I think we're going to let you go a couple of minutes early, but let me just hit some highlights. Right. So one of the things that was talked about in the breakout rooms was AI and how that's a really good tool to really think about. And I think that's going to be a constant theme because of the disruption in the space and things of that nature. Lots of great connections happened today in terms of people connecting to each other. David did a really good job. Thank you, David, for making those connections and also the other things around how people need to think about. There were some broader discussions that occurred today, right? That had to do with thinking through the side hustle, right? Some of that side hustle stuff that's going on could potentially turn into and evolve into something more significant. So what I'm saying to you is think about in the broader context, right? So some of you may have a very myopic view and want to be in this one direction, but sometimes you have multiple choice in being able to think through that there might be more than one opportunity out there and where you're looking and when you're looking in the context of what could be out there. Manufacturing. I love what Desi brought today. Desi was really good about articulating his value really cleanly. He's in a place where he's getting his technology degree, and he's listed in the manufacturing. He's got a number of leads relevant to where he's at in Columbus, Mississippi, and he's got his homework cut out for him in terms of where he wants to go next, in terms of searching for more things and thinking about the broader picture that we gave him. So I really like what Desi brought to the table. I'm highlighting him because I've interacted with him the most today. But I would almost guarantee you there's a lot of good people out there right now on this call the seeds have been planted. All the exchange from all the volunteers and encouraging us to share our LinkedIn profiles, right? Because I happen to have like almost 8,900 of my closest friends. I have a lot of connections. Now, do I know them all personally? No. But I do know a lot of them, and a lot of them will pick up the phone or answer an email or respond on LinkedIn when I do make an introduction. So those kinds of things I'm always happy to do, and I do it almost every single day. So always keep in mind that. The last thing I want to just give you a preview on is what we're doing going into 2026 and the exciting things that we've got going on. So what I think is really extraordinary valuable is, as you know, I've come on within the last about almost 5 months now. And so we've got some very significant capabilities that we're going to market with. Some of you have seen the heavy lift that we're doing in broadband and also shipbuilding. I actually mentioned that to Desi actually in shipbuilding because I know an organization called Bollinger that is in the Gulf of Mississippi, that is in the icebreaker, got the contract to building the Coast Guard icebreakers. So that could be an interesting place because they're manufacturing. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. So shipbuilding, broadband, we've got some other things we're lifting, but we're also thinking about how do we begin to strategically do the heavy lift, helping employers understand the military value. And you've seen, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see a number of different posts. 2026 is a make or break year for us in the context of where we go. We have an action summit in October that's early planned around how we're going to navigate a lot of these huge employment areas, right? And how we're going to tackle them in the context of helping employers understand the true value of the military and your preparation in that and this talent supply chain approach that we've been going to market with. So please keep in mind as we get closer to this, there's going to be a whole series of networking events. We're going to keep this going. We've got all kinds of other things planned in 2026. We have some really interesting things going on in terms of the subject matter, not only employment, but we want to look at some of the root causes around suicide that we think that are going to be appropriate to talk about, that are germane to your well-being in the context of homelessness is another area. So we're going to be talking not only more broadly about these subjects, but how does it come down to a quality of life, right? Because ultimately we want to deliver and bringing this quality of life to all of our service members in our community. So important for us to think about that, and so important for us to create this action summit that we think we're going to get there. So I think with that, I think I'm going to give you 10 minutes back of your time. If the volunteers and the staff of VETS2INDUSTRY can hang out, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone today and wish you a great rest of the weekend. Thanks for spending time with us. Thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate you, and God bless, and we'll see you on the other side.
And our next networking event is September 20th. We put the link in the chat for you. Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Miss Carmen.
Can I just ask that Mally and Desi put their URLs in the chat, because I've been trying to look them up on LinkedIn and I can't find them.
I don't have it.
Oh, well then, no wonder.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one today.
Called networking. Yeah,
it's his first priority order. Yes, he's gonna get it done.